From Gavin Newsom's girlfriend to ambassador to Greece, no one's had a life quite like Kimberly Guilfoyle. Here's the complete story of how the ex-Fox News host and Don Jr.'s ex got to where she is today.
News anchor and former prosecutor Kimberly Guilfoyle joined Fox News in 2006, working her way up to a co-hosting gig on The Five in 2011. Serving as the show's legal analyst, Guilfoyle helped to turn the nightly panel discussion into one of the top-rated programs in all of cable news, all while raising her own profile as a popular conservative voice. It's an arrangement that was good while it lasted.
The network made it official with a one-sentence statement. Fox News has parted ways with Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Despite a dozen years with the company, Guilfoyle and the network parted ways in July 2018. The murky circumstances of her departure have left viewers wondering what happened to prompt the sudden exit. Is it a new job, true love, or the result of an internal power struggle? Let's break down the real reasons Kimberly Guilfoyle left Fox News. In April 2017, the network ousted primetime anchor Bill O'Reilly following sexual harassment allegations. Following that news, you'd think that others at the network would be extra vigilant about acting sexist in the workplace, much less on air. But that wasn't the case. The same day that news broke about O'Reilly's ouster, Guilfoyle got into a verbal sparring match on The Five with co-host Bob Beckel. During an on-air spat in which she called Beckel a crybaby, Beckel and co-host Greg Gutfeld made some eye-rollingly sexist remarks about Guilfoyle's appearance.
Oh, you dressmaker. I mean,
and give him a raise. That's what I'm saying.
You are giving America
That's what I'm saying.
a raise.
There's nothing complimentary about being reduced to an object on live TV, especially when it happens all the time.
I just want to call Bob out in the break. He goes, Kimberly, I want to replace you as a robot. It would have nice long legs and no mouth. It wouldn't talk.
That's exactly right. No, seriously.
This is just the kind of stuff that made it on TV, which certainly raises questions about what the workplace culture is like when the cameras are off. Accusations of toxic behavior at Fox News have been well documented. Why put up with that when you can get a better gig elsewhere? According to anonymous sources who spoke with the Huffington Post, Guilfoyle's choice to leave Fox News may not have been a choice at all. Though Guilfoyle's rep told the outlet that her departure was mutual and amicable, reporter Yashar Ali reported that she was forced out and that her team is in separation negotiations. Coupled with the one-sentence statement from Fox News and the radio silence so far on Guilfoyle's part, it's hard not to wonder what went on behind the scenes, and what it might have to do with Guilfoyle's new boyfriend, Donald Trump Jr. Vanessa Trump filed for divorce from Donald Trump Jr., her husband of 12 years, in March 2018. Afterwards, Guilfoyle and the oldest Trump son made their relationship official. If the Instagram photo she posted of the two of them holding hands at the White House doesn't clue you into what her ambitions for the relationship might be, let's just say she may be playing the long game. Guilfoyle has called her new boyfriend the #1 up-and-coming political figure on the right, lauding him for his, quote, compelling political voice. During their relationship, she's pivoted from being a media pundit to a media critic. Some of her recent comments include identifying her former profession as being full of imposters, teetering on the brink of being completely mentally ill. Following her departure from Fox News, Guilfoyle has reportedly already lined up her next gig. According to Politico, she's expected to join the America First Super PAC in support of President Trump. She plans to hit the campaign trail during the 2018 midterm cycle with boyfriend Donald Trump Jr. Prior to her career change, Guilfoyle wrote a book titled Making the Case: How to Be Your Own Best Advocate, a book that's designed to, quote, help you win arguments and get what you want. Now that she's out of the media and moving full speed ahead with her political ambitions, it looks like she's taking her own advice.
Religious values ruled the Guilfoyle home in San Francisco, where Kimberly was born on March 9, 1969. Much of that was due to her mother, Mercedes, a Puerto Rican special education teacher, and her construction worker father, Anthony, both staunch Catholics. Kimberly Guilfoyle quickly picked up on how those ethics garnered respectability. She said she noticed how people looked up to her mother, determined to ensure her handicapped students received the best education possible. Understandably, at the age of 11, she was particularly devastated when her mother died in 1980 after a lengthy battle with leukemia. But even back then, Kimberly felt if she could get through such a personal tragedy, she might be able to help other suffering people do the same. Relying on support and guidance from her father, Guilfoyle finished school, got her degree from the University of San Francisco School of Law while modeling on the side, and continued her studies in Ireland. According to SF Gate, she returned home and chose teaching as a career, just like her mother, until her professional path suddenly changed. In 1996, Kimberly Guilfoyle hadn't been teaching long before she was hired to become a deputy district attorney in San Francisco. According to SF Gate, she had interned at the same office a few years earlier while studying for her law degree, but this time she'd get a taste of what it would be like as a professional in the legal system. At best, it was bittersweet. Guilfoyle was only on the job for a few months when she and 13 other deputies were fired in the wake of an ugly district attorney election pitting their current boss against an aggressive rival. The incumbent lost, and the new DA in charge cleaned house, ignoring a grievance filed by some of the dismissed deputies. Meanwhile, Guilfoyle eventually found a similar position in Los Angeles, where she worked for 4 years.
It's actually how I got my start in television, because after doing that, then I got the calls to come work in television.
In the early 2000s, Guilfoyle was generating media scrutiny in San Francisco for her frequent public appearances with city supervisor Gavin Newsom. The coupling seemed serious, at least enough to warrant her marrying him in a high society wedding in 2001. 2 years later, when Newsom threw his hat into the mayoral ring, Guilfoyle dutifully quit her district attorney job to support his campaign that put him into office in 2003. But while Newsom ran City Hall, Guilfoyle grew restless, and after being seduced by the media in recent years, took a broadcasting job at Court TV in New York. The geographic distance proved too great to sustain a marriage, and by 2005, the couple amicably split. While Newsom, now California's governor, wouldn't remarry for another 3 years, Guilfoyle leapt into the nuptial ring in 2006 by marrying designer Eric Valenci. 3 years later, the couple filed for divorce. Guilfoyle and Valenci remain friends and share a son, Ronan. To this day, Guilfoyle bears no animosity over these experiences, telling Mediate, "With marriages, people can take the easy way out and grow apart. Or you can show respect and loyalty, and that's what I've tried to do in all my relationships. I leave no friend behind." In 2006, Kimberly Guilfoyle left Court TV for Fox News. She originally hosted a crime-based series called The Lineup, before joining a table of pundits on the popular show The Five. Her presence seemed to be for more than her political insight. Co-host Bob Beckel asked in one segment that was reprinted in Mediate, "If those legs of yours were a foot shorter, do you think you'd be here?" Perhaps she bought into that objectification or let success get to her head. Regardless, rumors of inappropriate behavior on her behalf started circulating to the point where a Fox internal investigation resulted in her departure in 2018. 2 years later, The New Yorker published a piece about those allegations from sources speaking on condition of anonymity. One of them was an assistant who recalled working with Guilfoyle in her apartment, where her boss sometimes stripped, showed off graphic pictures of former lovers, and requested thigh massages. She added that Guilfoyle threatened her job should any word of those incidents get out. Guilfoyle said in a statement to The New Yorker, "In my 30-year career working for the SF District Attorney's Office, the LA District Attorney's Office, in media, and in politics, I have never engaged in any workplace misconduct of any kind." By then, she was already on another career path. While details of Kimberly Guilfoyle's departure from Fox are foggy at best, her arrival into the Trump world was an open buffet for the media. In 2018, she fell for the commander-in-chief's oldest son, Donald Trump Jr., before quitting her job to work on Donald Trump's re-election campaign. The pairing was puzzling, considering who Guilfoyle had chosen to date previously. It wasn't long before media wags like the Washington Post reported that the two were dating, even though Don Jr. was still separated from his wife Vanessa at the time. Don Jr. told the Daily Mail, "We're having a great time. She's brilliant, exciting, fun." An extensive piece in The Atlantic, however, revealed that a few Trumps weren't excited by the romance, especially Donald Trump Sr. Don Jr.'s father thought the pairing distracted from his re-election campaign, which was less than 2 years away. Also reportedly less than thrilled was the then president's daughter, Ivanka, long touted as his favorite successor, who apparently felt upstaged by Guilfoyle and Don Jr.'s presence at public gatherings. It didn't help that a McClatchy dispatch declared Don Jr. was already eclipsing Ivanka's work in getting their famous father re-elected. Kimberly Guilfoyle's climb to the top of the Republican social ladder hit a crescendo at the 2020 Republican National Convention. On the night of August 24th, she made sure her 6-minute speech would be heard. It was a bombastic performance, taking aim at the Democrat Party's plans to destroy the country and treating President Trump more as a god than a national leader. Guilfoyle impressed the president with her dramatic closing.
The best is yet to come.
Comparing Guilfoyle to Eva Perón, he reportedly told her, "Nobody could have done that but you." However, several advisors to the president were less than impressed, with one person allegedly saying, "Kimberly shouting is weird," according to SF Gate. Elsewhere, results were mixed. The New York Post called Guilfoyle's speech passionate and that it was making waves on social media. Meanwhile, Intelligencer called the cameo, quote, 6 terrifying minutes. The View co-host Sunny Hostin felt compelled to correct the celebrity speaker, who declared herself a first-generation Puerto Rican. Hostin tweeted, "Puerto Ricans are Americans last I checked. I'm horrified and embarrassed as a fellow Latina." CNN political commentator Alice Stewart said Guilfoyle's goal was obvious. Stewart said on CNN, "The reality is she's speaking to an audience of one, President Trump. I'm sure she got 2 thumbs up for that." In November 2020, Kimberly Guilfoyle's ascent to the top of the political heap was put on hold when Donald Trump lost the presidential election to Joe Biden. After the election, Donald Trump made multiple unverified claims that the results were fraudulent, and Kimberly went to work campaigning to raise funds for a January 6th rally in Washington, D.C., apparently raising as much as $3 million. The rally at the Ellipse took place the same day Vice President Mike Pence was to oversee the certification of the election result in Congress a few blocks away. Before Trump spoke to the masses gathering to dissuade Pence, Guilfoyle was captured on Don Jr.'s phone dancing and urging the vice president to
Have the courage to do the right thing. Fight.
A few hours later, after Trump's Fight Like Hell speech, supporters invaded Capitol Hill in an insurrection that killed 5 people and injured dozens more. It didn't stop the political process, and the election results were certified.
Kimberly Guilfoyle and Gavin Newsom married in 2001 in what appeared to be a promising relationship as political superpowers. When they became the mayor and first lady of San Francisco, Harper's Bazaar did an 8-page spread on the pair, calling them the new Kennedys, and claiming their marriage would be one of the most glamorous political unions since Jack and Jackie. But that glitz and glamour tarnished quickly. According to the Washington Post, it seemed as though the couple may be treating each other as, quote, a means to an end. One longtime city official said the high-profile Mr. and Mrs. felt like they were just, quote, passing through. And that sentiment may be right. Only 3 days after Newsom was sworn in as mayor in 2004, Guilfoyle flew to New York City to start a new job as a host on a show for Court TV. By 2006, they were divorced. But big changes aren't necessarily a bad thing to Guilfoyle, who told the Washington Post, "I am always changing and doing stuff. Grass doesn't grow too long under my feet. I'm on the move." Guilfoyle and Newsom announced their divorce in a statement issued by the San Francisco City Hall Mayor's office, which said, "Unfortunately, the demands of our respective careers have made it too difficult for us to continue as a married couple. Over the past 10 years, we have developed a tremendous bond of love and respect for each other. That will never change." A friend of the couple said Newsom and Guilfoyle's bi-coastal arrangement took its toll on the relationship. The source explained, "It's no secret that they have been leading separate lives. She's on one coast, he's on the other. How can you make a marriage work like that?" Another insider insisted that the breakup wasn't hostile, saying, "The funny thing is they both genuinely like each other, and they seem to get along. I mean, it's not like there was any anger or screaming."
These days, she may be working as one of President Donald Trump's campaign advisors and dating the president's son, Donald Trump Jr. But back in July 2018, Kimberly Guilfoyle made headlines for leaving her post at the 5 on Fox News, somewhat abruptly. The New York Times speculated that Guilfoyle could have possibly been vacating the job to take on a more politically centered role with President Trump, which, as we now know, is exactly what she went on to do. At the time, the outlet reported, President Trump considered hiring her as his White House press secretary, telling allies that he was impressed with her presence on TV.
And we stand for our flag.
She never became the press secretary, but remained heavily involved in Trump's campaign. At the time of Guilfoyle's departure from the network, Fox News stated that the network had, quote, parted ways with her leading some to believe that perhaps the exit wasn't a mutual one. Shortly after she left, that idea gained momentum when HuffPost published an exclusive report alleging that Guilfoyle was indeed forced out of her job at the network. The outlet cited a handful of sources who claimed Guilfoyle did not make a voluntary departure, but a rep for Guilfoyle told HuffPost that her exit from Fox was, quote, mutual and amicable. What later became evident was that Guilfoyle's exit was likely anything but amicable. Just days after she left her job at Fox News in 2018, HuffPost published a report saying Guilfoyle's exit from the network was due to her being forced out over allegations of inappropriate conduct. According to the outlet, the network was reportedly investigating human resources reports against Guilfoyle, alleging that they told her she had to be out by July of that year. She reportedly tried to reason with them to let her stay. It didn't work, and she was forced to leave. The complaints against Guilfoyle, according to HuffPost sources, included allegedly verbally abusing support staff and sharing illicit photos with her coworkers. It wasn't until October 2020, though, that the darker details of these complaints finally came to light. In a story published by The New Yorker, it was revealed that Guilfoyle's former assistant bore the brunt of the alleged misconduct. The assistant, who also worked for former Fox host Eric Bolling, alleged in the complaint Guilfoyle had subjected her frequently to degrading, abusive, and explicitly inappropriate behavior. The assistant claimed Guilfoyle frequently walked around without clothes and made her uncomfortable on a regular basis. After the complaint was filed, Fox then hired a law firm to handle the situation. It was then that the assistant alleged that Guilfoyle even tried to pay her off, so she wouldn't reveal any incriminating details to the lawyers. At the time, Eric Bolling was also being investigated for alleged misconduct.
I saw all too personal, up close, what goes on when you have lawlessness and recklessness and disrespect.
But not only did Guilfoyle's assistant complain about misconduct and ongoing distress in the workplace, she also alleged Guilfoyle attempted to keep her quiet during the investigation with the full force of a legal team. According to The New Yorker, though, the assistant refused to conceal the truth and instead made formal complaints about Guilfoyle and Eric Bolling. The result, according to the outlet, was a deep investigation into both Fox anchors and Guilfoyle's eventual boot from Fox News. While the assistant's identity has remained protected, according to the New Yorker's report, the woman simply stated, "I wish you well, but I have nothing to say." An amount of money was exchanged, with Vanity Fair reporting the former assistant was eventually paid more than $4 million by Fox News over the matter, and Guilfoyle was sacked. Guilfoyle, on the other hand, made the quick pivot to President Trump's campaign, where she has remained a very public figure ever since. As for the allegations, her lawyer previously told The New Yorker any suggestion she engaged in misconduct at Fox is patently false. More recently, Guilfoyle herself explained to the outlet, "In my 30-year career, I have never engaged in any workplace misconduct of any kind. I have served as a mentor to countless women, with many of whom I remain exceptionally close to this day."
Kimberly Guilfoyle has dated her fair share of eligible bachelors. The former prosecutor and co-host of the Fox News show The Five has been married and divorced twice, with hubby number 2 being Eric Valenci. Here's everything to know about these two, from their early days to their split. Before we dig into the dirty details of this romance, you should first know a few things about Kimberly Guilfoyle's second ex-husband, since he's not connected to politics. After all, Guilfoyle seems wildly attracted to that type. Eric Valenci isn't a president's son and may not have governor on his resume, but he still has some decently impressive credentials, making him bachelor-worthy on paper. For starters, Valenci hails from a family of entrepreneurial blood. His grandfather started the Maurice Valenci furniture chain in 1932, which his father eventually took over prior to handing it down to him in 1998. Guilfoyle's second hubby credits his grandfather with instilling in him a love of design. Valenci deeply admired his hardworking grandfather, telling Forbes magazine, "I love to hear him talk about not only his furniture and the art he made, but also the artists and designers he admired." The family furniture company was eventually rebranded as the Valenci Design Group, and it's pretty safe to say that Eric's been successful at running it. He's not only completed projects for various airports and Citi Field, but he's also designed a SoulCycle bike and exercise bike for Peloton.
Okay, Peloton, let's go!
Kimberly Guilfoyle didn't waste much time on the singles market after splitting from her politician ex-husband Gavin Newsom. She met Eric Valenci on a blind date that same year, and went full steam ahead with her younger new beau without looking back. Here's how it all went down. According to a 2006 article in People, The couple met on a blind date last October and were engaged by Christmas, but kept the romance a secret until February, when Kimberly's divorce from San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom was finalized. If you do the math, there wasn't much downtime between Guilfoyle's two marriages. We can speculate that it was the couple's good looks or perhaps their shared love for modeling that brought them together. In Guilfoyle's pre-attorney and news anchor days, she modeled for Macy's, Nordstrom, and various other higher-end clothing stores to help pay for law school. Valenci also dabbled in that arena. According to the booking agency All American Entertainment Speakers, the furniture heir maintains a deep connection to the fashion world, even to the present day. Whatever pushed them onto a fast-track romance worked, for a little while at least. A 37-year-old Kimberly Guilfoyle already had one failed marriage to add to her resume when she took the plunge for a second time with Eric Valenci in May 2006. Slow and steady obviously wasn't on this pair's agenda though, as they wed just 1 year into the courtship. The couple went with a swanky St. James Barbados resort, with a Nazarene minister officiating the nuptials for their big day. A now known fact is that Guilfoyle was already 5 months pregnant with Valenci's child when she walked down the aisle at her destination wedding. A source told People that the pregnancy was the worst-kept secret in town at the time. The same source also refuted anyone's claims that the marriage was a shotgun attempt to unite before the baby arrived, declaring that the wedding was planned long before Guilfoyle knew that she was pregnant. However, there was no hiding that breaking news for long. The duo's son, Ronan Anthony, was born in October 2006. Kimberly Guilfoyle's marriage to Eric Valenci ended in 2009. It's safe to say that she hasn't had the best luck when it comes to her marriages. Her first union only lasted 5 years, and her second marriage wound up having less longevity than the first, despite the fact that she had a child with hubby number 2. There are very few details out there about why her 3-year marriage to Valenci didn't work out. However, we can say that the breakup appeared to be amicable. The exes had a signed prenuptial agreement in place and were vowing to remain friends while sharing joint custody of a then 2-year-old Ronan. Guilfoyle seems to be a mover and shaker though, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that she managed to keep it moving when her marriage to Valenci ended. Loyalty is apparently a big thing for Kimberly Guilfoyle, even when it comes to exes. The former television anchor is still very close with her furniture heir ex's family, despite the fact that they've been divorced for years. As Guilfoyle told Mediaite in an interview, "Even when people don't stay married, they can still be a family together. When you go through divorce with children, you don't make it about you, make it about that child."
And you can have a great relationship with your ex. I know, I've done it twice.
Kimberly Guilfoyle has become a familiar face in Republican circles, but did you know she's been accused of inappropriate behavior multiple times? And about her role in the Capitol riots? Keep watching to find out. During Guilfoyle's time at Fox News, she worked alongside Eric Bolling. According to HuffPost, he was let go following an investigation into allegations he had sent sexually explicit pictures to female colleagues. Business Insider reports that Guilfoyle claimed that she had also been sent lewd images by Bolling, but others have alleged that she was in a secret consensual relationship with him at the time and was using the photos tactically. Insisting that their relationship was spoiled by Bolling getting his own show, one source told the publication, "The minute Bolling became expendable to her, she did this. She felt betrayed by him and pushed him out." Fox News specialists. Bolling's attorney and Fox News denied the allegations. According to legal papers obtained by The New Yorker, it was alleged that she also tried to bribe young women to cover up Bolling's behavior in 2017. Guilfoyle allegedly promised one of her assistants, who also worked for Bolling, that she would, quote, work out a payment to take care of her if she lied to a law firm about sexually inappropriate behavior at Fox News. The host reportedly promised private plane trips, the opportunity to appear on TV, and payments up to $1 million, implying that Bolling would also compensate the assistant for her loyalty. Guilfoyle denied the accusations. As a host on the Fox News talk show The Five, Guilfoyle wasn't afraid to speak her mind, and some of her comments got her in trouble, like in 2014 when she suggested young women don't understand politics.
When you're young like that, you think the same reason why young women on juries are not a good idea. They don't get it.
During the charged debate, she argued, they're not in that same life experience of paying the bills, doing the mortgage, kids, community crime, education, healthcare. The Fox presenter, who previously worked as a prosecutor and a deputy district attorney, then assured her co-hosts that she wouldn't rule out the idea of young women serving on juries altogether, but then added,
I just thank and excuse them so they can go back on Tinder or Match.com.
Her remarks sparked outrage from many online critics, including Leonard Nimoy. The Star Trek icon tweeted, Guilfoyle and Fox telling young people not to vote? Unbelievable. Guilfoyle denied that she told young women not to vote or be politically involved, however. According to Cosmopolitan, she said, "My point is you've been given a powerful blessing in life in this country to be able to vote and to be able to sit on the jury, so come equipped. Come prepared because you don't want to dilute the votes out there because you are uninformed. This goes for everyone." Before Guilfoyle could become Donald Trump's next daughter-in-law, she apparently had her sights set on a position in his administration. Publications like Politico first started reporting that she was being considered for a role soon after Trump's election in 2016, but the story might have been slightly exaggerated. A source at the New York Post claimed to Business Insider, right before she got axed when she was still on the Five, she personally reached out to the New York Post trying to plant an item about the fact that she was a contender for the White House press secretary job. In 2017, she teased the idea of becoming the new White House press secretary, claiming that, in her words, a number of people had suggested it. She told the Mercury News, "I'm a patriot, and it would be an honor to serve the country. I think it'd be a fascinating job. It's a challenging job, and you need someone really determined and focused, a great communicator in there with deep knowledge to be able to handle that position." In the end, of course, Sean Spicer was chosen for the role, and Guilfoyle signed a long-term deal at Fox News instead, claiming that she was excited to remain a commentator. After many allegations of sexual harassment led to the downfall of Fox News CEO Roger Ailes in 2016, Guilfoyle was quick to defend her former boss. Although figures like Megyn Kelly and Gretchen Carlson spoke up about their experiences, Guilfoyle tried to debunk their accusations of sexually predatory behavior at the network. She told TV Newser, "Total disbelief. I've known Roger Ailes for 15 years, and I have been treated with the utmost professionalism and respect. This is a man who champions women."
And he saw something in me and gave me the best opportunity, honestly, of my life.
She also suggested that Carlson might have been disgruntled after her contract wasn't renewed and filed her sexual harassment suit after that disappointment. Insisting that over 30 women at Fox agreed with her, Guilfoyle went on to say, "Nobody believed this. Nobody that I've spoken to said that this was their experience." She even claimed that Fox News was, in her words, by far the best, most professional, supportive environment she had ever worked in. According to Brian Stelter's book Hoax, Guilfoyle was trying to threaten her female colleagues into backing Ailes at the time. And according to The New Yorker, she warned them that she was taking notes. Although Guilfoyle signed a long-term contract with Fox News, she ended up leaving the network unceremoniously in 2018, as CNN reported. Their statement at the time simply announced that Fox had parted ways with the host, who was already dating Donald Trump Jr. and soon began working for a pro-Trump super PAC. Soon after, her representative assured HuffPost that the split was mutual and amicable. However, multiple sources divulged that Guilfoyle had not left on her own terms. Instead, she had been forced to leave after months of investigation from HR. The host was facing accusations of sexual misconduct and inappropriate workplace behavior, particularly towards support staff like hair and makeup artists. Guilfoyle allegedly showed pictures of male genitalia to and constantly discussed her own private life in detail with these staff members, who described her as emotionally abusive. Despite trying to pull strings with Rupert Murdoch to save herself, the host was told to find a new position so that she could leave quietly rather than face a public firing. Her attorney told HuffPost, "The claims are unequivocally baseless and have been viciously made by disgruntled and self-interested employees." Guilfoyle may have been forced to leave her job as a TV host, but she hasn't exactly struggled for money. The former news commentator, who is reportedly worth $25 million, joined the Trump camp. Word eventually got out that she was raking in $180,000 per year. According to HuffPost, Guilfoyle received $15,000 per month through a private company owned by Donald Trump's campaign manager, Brad Parscale, allegedly to get around federal election commission rules. If she was paid directly by the president or his campaign, they would have to reveal the financial details to the public. A campaign finance legal expert at the watchdog group Common Cause explained, "A lot of people close to Donald Trump are getting rich off of his campaign. They don't want donors to know that they're getting rich because at the end of the day, it's donor money." Laura Trump, the wife of Eric Trump, apparently has a similar setup and has also been receiving $15,000 every month. In response to the revelations, Parscale told HuffPost, "I can pay them however I want to pay them." Guilfoyle came under scrutiny for her role in the rally that preceded the deadly Capitol building riots that took place on January 6, 2021. Text messages published by ProPublica reportedly showed Guilfoyle boasting about her fundraising efforts ahead of the Save America event, as she convinced donors to give millions. In a conversation with White House aide Katrina Pearson, Guilfoyle expressed frustration that she might not be allowed to speak at the event, given that she had, quote, raised so much money for this and only wanted to introduce her boyfriend Donald Trump Jr. Speaking about Publix heir and Trump supporter Julie Jenkins Fancelli, Guilfoyle said, "Literally one of my donors, Julie, at $3 million. Her phone records have since been obtained by the House committee investigating the insurrection, according to CNN. According to ProPublica, Guilfoyle also apparently attempted to influence the event during a phone call, in which she argued in favor of including more controversial speakers like Stop the Steal organizer Ali Alexander and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. Alexander also claimed that he spoke to Guilfoyle on January 6th, confirming that the former TV host was directly involved with far-right personalities who were trying to overturn the election. And on the day, Guilfoyle wasn't alarmed by the massive crowd that gathered at the event. According to the Washington Post, she told then-President Trump, "They're just reflecting the will of the people. This is the will of the people."
You have the ability to choose your life and determine your destiny.